So, I did a video. I asked you guys to give me questions, like a Q&A, and you just bombarded me with questions both on YouTube and on Instagram. So I'm here to answer those questions. So this is my first Q&A, I think. Cue music. So I have my computer here. I'm going to read directly from the questions, and first up, it's an Instagram question. It's Jep Cruz. It's with a Z, so I don't know how to pronounce that. Jeps Cruz. What is the most money spent on a record? Well, Jeps Cruz, it's I think €250. That's the most I've ever spent on a record. It's a fairly hard question but let's go back to that. And the record in question is this one. It's Life. I could show it. I have it in background, but I'm too lazy. This is Life, and Life was it was released in two versions. Sorry, two versions. One in Swedish and one sung in English. It's a Swedish prog record. Sorry. Swedish prog record. It was released in one Swedish version and a very obscure, very little pressed English version that they wanted to promote outside of Sweden, but they never did. So I think it was pressed in 100 records, but I think that one said, I don't know, very small batch. Now I found this from a Dutch seller, and when he sent me pictures of this, I think that he only took the information from the Swedish one. So I bought this back then for what the Swedish one goes for. But last time it sold for €2,000. So a pretty nice sort of deal for me, at least. Yeah, so €250. And it's complicated because, and I love this with collecting vinyl. I have like 2,500 records now, and everything is in sort of rotation because my taste in music varies from almost season to season. And I want this to be a living thing. It's not something I have very few of these. I have like feelings, attachments to. I mean, no, it's just music and vinyl, and I love them, but it's still something that I want to be a living thing. So records comes and goes from this. Now, if I buy something for, let's say, €20, and I sit on it a couple of years, I don't play it as much as I want, and I can sell that for €100. I take that €100 and buy a €100 record for. And I often try to buy it for maybe 100, but maybe it costs 120, if you know what I mean. So in that case, and I log every single record that I have, in that case, I'm counting that record not as a €120 record and not a €100 record. I count that as a €20 record, because 20 is the money that I actually went in to buy it. I don't know if this is right or wrong. Doesn't matter. That's how I view this sort of hobby. It's not a cheap hobby by all means, and I haven't even come to talk about the equipment and the hi-fi system that I have, just the records. But it's like any other sort of collection. If you collect stamps or coins or hockey cards or baseball cards or whatever, you know the deal. It's like there's cheap stuff and there's super expensive stuff, and if you want the expensive stuff, you have to buy or pay up. It's like that, or you have to hassle and find it cheaper, but there's this much of a chance to find it cheap. So yeah, great hobby, and I think that answered the question. I hope so. Next one is Fredrik Svensson, the coolest and best bassist in the world. This is Fredrik here. Look at that. What a monster. If I wasn't married, I would marry Fredrik, definitely. So he asked, do I mount the shelves to the wall? Well, no, I don't. I have two, I think these are called Kallax, IKEA. The sort of every vinyl junkie out there have these shelves or this sort of system. I have a 2 5x5s, and it's like this. This room is exactly the size of 2 5x5 Kallax, so they can't go anywhere. So that's why I don't mount them to the wall. Yeah, they could go this way, but there's a slim chance that they will do that. They can't go anywhere on this end. Now, upstairs, where I have the nicer sort of hi-fi system, because this is the basement. Upstairs, I have a 2x4 that that's standing vertically, and now that one is wobbly as shit, and I should really mount that to the wall. But once again, I'm lazy, so I haven't done it, and I will come home one day and see the entire thing laying all over the floor, and I will ban myself that I didn't mount it to the wall. And the expensive stuff is up there, so I really should do it. So Fredrik, if you're free this next weekend, can you please come here to help me mount it to the wall? Thank you so much. So Vinyl Lava, my Danish friend, asks, am I a musician? Hell no. Shit no. I'm not a musician. I dabble a little bit with a guitar. I've been playing guitar since I was 10 years old, and I went to music school. But I also went to Spanish, to learn Spanish in junior high. And I don't know, I know cerveza and I know gracias. That's all I know. So going to music school, playing guitar when you're 10, 12, 14 years old, in my case, it didn't matter at all. I also own a banjo because my mother bought a shit expensive banjo. Then she moved and she didn't have the room for it, so she bought it just because it looked cool. So I said I could take care of it because she's building a house. So she gets it back when she gets the house. But friends that comes over and see the banjo is really like thinking if this is some sort of dueling banjos sort of thing. We live in the country, so it's a little bit creepy to come home to this house. I also have, and I bought this, I've always said that when I succeed in business and in life, when I have enough money to really indulge myself, I'm going to buy a digital drum set. So I never made it. I'm still a failure in life, at work, in everything except my marriage and my daughter, of course. That's but in everything else I'm a failure. But when I saw this digital Roland drum set on like Swedish eBay for next to nothing, I couldn't resist. So I actually bought it. So I cheated a little bit, but I'm playing this several times a week. It's the perfect sort of way to get frustration out, and I'm starting to be really, really good. I'm a little bit. I'm like a blend of John Bonham and Max Roach, I think, like the perfect blend between those two drummers. So, and harmonica, and we have a saying here in Sweden, flesh flute, but that's something else. I'm pretty good at it, but it's something else. Okay, so next question is Sonic Safari, and the question was the one advice you would give someone who's getting into vinyl, and also my biggest mistake getting into vinyl or starting in vinyl. I guess that's the question, and I think that this answers both, in my opinion, because my short answer is don't buy records just to buy records, or don't buy it on vinyl just to buy it on vinyl. I did that in the beginning. Now I've been collecting since way back. But when I really started again to accumulate some sort of collection, I bought everything because it was so cheap. I bought stuff for €1, €5, €8. And all my Mahavishnu Orchestra, my Neil Young, my Beatles. Back in the day, they cost like nothing compared to today. But then again, I just bought it and didn't look at the quality of the record, and that's my biggest mistake, because nowadays I've been getting rid of all my sort of badly graded or scuffed and stuff like that records, both record covers and records. So that's my biggest mistake. Because it's such a bummer to now, several years afterwards, like with Rain Dogs, the Tom Waits record, I bought that for €1. I was so glad I played it. But now when I play it, when I put it on the turntable, there's one scratch that I think passes like 1.5 song or something like that. Just takes all, and it's a first, I think, UK press or something like that, or European press, with the booklet and everything. But it's such a bummer. And I need to replace that with another. And it's not the most expensive record on earth, I know. But if I could go back and do it again, I would look at that scuff and say, no, fuck it. Let's put that money somewhere else, because there's not a shortage of records, is there? There's so much records out there, and today it's much more expensive than it was before. But probably today will be less expensive than tomorrow, because this vinyl thing that is going on, this sort of boom, it's not going anywhere. Trust me, it's not going anywhere. Yeah, one way, up. It's like one guy said, the only bad real estate businesses that he has done is the houses or apartments that he didn't buy. And it's just like with vinyl. You can buy something or you can hesitate to buy something for €100, and 2 years after that, it's 150, and a year after that, it's 250, and then you are thinking like, why didn't I buy it for 100? And it's gonna go up. I'm positive. Like old stuff, like a record from 1968, it's not going down. I'm positive it's not going down, because it's something else than a reissue or a streaming or a CD. We're back at the coins and stamps discussion, aren't we? That old record is not going anywhere. Will always be a demand for that record. So John Barrington asks the next question, and that is, how many records do you have? I have almost answered that, but I'm going to give you the exact, because I log every single record I have on Discogs. I have a routine, and that's why I began to do videos. I have a routine, and my routine is that I buy a record, I get it home, I clean it, I play it, I put it in a box, I show it in a video, and I shelf it. And when I play it, I look up all the research that I want or need, and that's part of the fun listening to music also. It's reading about the music while you're listening to it, in my opinion. And I log my records at that moment on Discogs. So today I have, according to Discogs, I have 2,309 records. But I think that I have maybe 40 that I haven't listened to. That is recent vinyl finds, coming up in recent vinyl finds, 40-50 records. And I have another maybe 150 records that I have in different boxes that I'm going to sell. So yeah, I hope that answers the question. And let's talk about this a little bit. It's and I don't think that John was thinking that when he asked the question, but a lot of people that is maybe not vinyl freaks like you and me, they often ask, how many records do you have? And I say 2,500 records, and they just gasp like, shit, that's so much. And compared to some people not too far from my house, that's nothing. People have like 10,000 records. I know a guy who has 50,000 records. But my 2,309 or whatever it was, I'm pretty proud of almost all of those records. Very few of them is fillers. I want my entire record collection to be all killers. That's the idea of it, at least. Okay, the next one is from my dude Scott Spinner 1. Why do you think that the UK has been one of the biggest influences on music trends, genres, etc. for the size of the country? I think that was the question. And yeah, sure, I agree. The UK is definitely a trendsetter and has been, and maybe was, especially in the sort of 60s and then maybe in the 90s with Oasis, stuff like that. I'm talking shit here. Okay, so my just a little bit of my opinion on this. I mean, modern music, let's just agree that modern music is from the States. There's nothing to argue about that. Jazz, blues, and then rock, all hail from the States. And I say modern music because in the beginning, the US is 200 years old or something like that. I mean, Switzerland, Germany, French. With the classical music, it's a no-brainer. They were making masterpieces when the US wasn't even born. But modern music is hailing from the US, and that's another discussion. I think that the UK has always been really good at checking out like trends, taking what someone made and just optimizing it or doing it more effective. I don't know, like the Beatles, for example, or Oasis in more recent sort of. And I bet there's other bands, but I don't listen to music after 1972, so I have no idea what's playing on the radio today or what kids are jiving to. But yeah, so that's my opinion, and I think that also the UK is a small little island, because that's what it is. It's a small little island with a lot of people on it. But politically, they are more like. I mean, we're all part of the Western civilization, but it's more part of the sort of the other European countries like Germany, France, and the Scandinavian. Like I live in Sweden, so I think that politically and also geologically, is that the word for it? They are more close to those, so we have influences from folk, classical music, yeah, and the US have that too. But I don't know. Maybe that's my theory of why the UK has always been great at trends. And let's talk Sweden for example. I mean, Sweden has some awesome exports of when it comes to music, like Roxette and ABBA and Avicii, to name a modern name. There's a bunch. I can't name anyone now. Ace of Base, and we've been very good at. Fuck it. Christopher asked, my dear friend Christopher up in north of Sweden asked the best 80s album, and I have to go with, I mean, I didn't give this too much thought because I want this to be quite quick, but, and I've already said Rain Dogs, but I think I'm gonna go for Rain Dogs because it's such an iconic record. It's so good. Well, definitely one of the best 80s records, in my opinion. He also asks which is the best Swedish album. It's an impossible question, but some of them definitely Jazz på svenska by Jan Johansson, or In Pleno, which is a fantastic record with Jan Johansson also. You got Hansson and Karlsson, or maybe Bo Hansson's Lord of the Rings is, I mean, way up there. I love Kattvals with Kvartetten som sprängde. That's definitely a favorite. Let's see here. Tages Studio, definitely. Yeah, I don't know. There's some of them, at least. Christoph also asked, which is the best psych record? And I don't know. When I saw the question, the first thing that popped up in my head was the Savage Resurrection. Just because it's such a psychedelic cover artwork. It's a rare record, but it's not impossible to find, and it's a masterpiece all the way through if you like psychedelic music. So I'm going with the Savage Resurrection. Best prog, that's easy. It's King Crimson's in the Court of the Crimson King. There is no competition. That's the best prog record ever recorded, and there will never be a better one. And best jazz. I mean, okay, Kind of Blue, The Black Saint and the Sinner Lady, Love Supreme, and Giant Steps. Spiritual Unity with Eiler, definitely one of them. Shit Organic Music, I know you have that one. I'm still waiting for that in the mail from you, Christopher. First press of that would be nice, hint hint. Yeah, there's some of them. I mean, it's once again, it's an impossible task. But I think that if I went to an island, I would probably take Kind of Blue with me. It's the one that I really started it all off with my jazz obsession. So the next question is from Runar Hallgrims. How long have you been collecting records, and has it changed? Hell yes, it has changed a lot, and it's changing. It's an ever-changing sort of unit. I don't know how to describe it, but it's always changing. I've been collecting records since I was like 15 years old. I had a record player, and my dad's records, when he went to CD when I was like 8 years old or something like that, I got his turntable and his old receiver, and I started playing his records at my room at my dad's place. So that's how it began, but that was the only way that I could consume music, because I didn't have anything else. Okay, so when I was like 15 or something like that, a little bit before that, I had the turntable. I was playing guitar, as I said before. I went to music school and once a week, and me and my friend, we got €5. I think it was €4 or €5 every day, every time we went into town to play guitar. That we was buying food with. So he got it, I got it, buying food with, and so. But what we did was, for 2 or 3 hours before the guitar thing started, we went to record stores, and we went to every single record store in the entire in town. And back then there were a lot of record stores in my town, and we had €4 or €5. We could decide if we wanted a record or if we wanted to eat, and we were going home later that evening, so we could eat then. So we often bought records. And back then, this is when I was 14, 15 years old, I'm 38 now, a CD cost €8, €9, something like that. So if I saved, or if I had any money, I could buy a CD. But a record cost like €4 or €5, because it was way cheaper than records. No one was buying records. We had 2 dedicated record stores, like vinyl record stores. Today we have 0 record stores, just to give it up. So we went to all the CD stores, and I often ended up buying 1 or 2 records because it was cheaper. Okay, so when I joined the VC 10 years ago, a little bit more than 10 years ago, I had maybe 400, 500, 600 records, maybe 700 records, and today I have 2,300. So joining the VC, getting to know all of you beautiful guys out there, has really like inspired me, obviously, to dive deeper into music. And I think I was pretty knowledgeable of music before I joined the VC, but it has really exploded these 10 years. And today I think that I'm pretty knowledgeable when it comes to the stuff that I listen to and like to educate myself in. So I don't know if that if that answers the question. And has it changed? Yes, it's changed, and it's changing all the time because I dig different stuff. I mean, I bought a lot of metal and Opeth back 10 years ago maybe, and newer progressive music. I don't do that anymore. I'm actually really thinking of selling everything with sort of newer artists, because I got a great streamer for streaming music that sounds as good as any record I play on my equipment. Maybe not exactly as good as, but way close. And when it comes to records that is from the 90s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, it sounds as good because it's digital all the way. Most of it, at least. So when it comes to Opeth, for example, I never play it. I stream it. So I have, it's like build up, back here behind me. It's there's, fuck, I want to say so much. Back behind me, there's, this is money, okay? This is saved up money. And I know that some of you don't believe that, but in my world, it is. Because every single record here is worth something. And I have bought it, so it's occupied money for me right now. And I decide that this stays, and if it doesn't stay, 1 record, 2 records, 5 records, 10 records, or 100 records, doesn't matter. Or if I'll sell 2,300 records, it doesn't matter. And the Opeth collection that I have is worth a little bit of money. Money that I can put into other records in my hobby. So I can sell 5 Opeth records and I can buy 2 really, really wants, maybe. So someone said, and I think it's a pretty good saying, it's not altar signs, you know, the altar signs that's in the old churches and stuff like that. This is not holy. It's not a holy object. A record is a record. It's not, I don't let this consume me. Music consumes my life. I'm obsessed with music and somewhat obsessed with this medium, but I don't let it consume me. It's still just stuff. Okay, the next question, and this is a serious one. It's from my friend Ben Costello. He's asking, who is the best Swedish football player? Is it Zlatan Ibrahimovic, or is it Henke Larsson? And that's the easiest question today. Hands down, no competition. It's Henke Larsson, the best Swedish football player ever existed, and he runs circles of Zlatan. Next question is my left toes. My left toes. My computer needs juice. Who doesn't? Okay, there. Okay, next question is from my left toes. Do you have any Brooker Irvine? No, I don't. Not solo-wise. I have the stuff that he's done with, not all, but some stuff that he's done with Mingus, but I don't think that counts. It's not your question. So no, I don't have any Brooker Irvine. One day maybe, but it's not an artist that I'm really dived into yet. Not the solo stuff, at least. Okay, the next question is an Instagram question. It's Modreoxco with a Z. Yes, just like that. That's how you pronounce it. Don't ask me any more questions about that. He asks, because I think it's a he, because 99.9% of everyone who's collecting vinyl is men. Most effective and safe way to clean a record. Well, I'm not a record expert, so you should listen to other people. The way I clean my records is I have a record cleaning machine. It's an Okinoki, Finnish built, I think. I've had it for many, many years now, and it's super duper. It's actually beginning to fall apart. So I'm a little bit bummed out about that, because the machine costs around like 400, 500, 600 euro, I think. And it's manageable. But if you're thinking of getting a ultrasonic cleaner, and that's maybe 2,000-3,000 euros for getting one of those. So I'm thinking of, when my Okinoki dies, I probably shoot myself. So I think that that's the best way to clean your records with a record cleaning machine. It's the way for that the record gets as clean as it can get and without harming the record. Now, if you don't have the resources to buy a machine, because not everyone is as into it as you and me, I would get a sort of a record cleaning plate. I know that there's some rubber sort of plates that you can get, so the record doesn't get in anywhere, but it doesn't harm the record from underneath. Then I'll get cleaning fluid and some very, very soft cloths, and just spread it out very easily. Let the fluid do the work. I think that's the key point, not scrubbing. Let the fluid do the work. Trust the fluid and all the chemical shits to clean the record, and just air clean it. Let it dry, so there's no traces of any like liquid on it. You don't want the liquid on the needle and your cartridge. So yeah, I think that's how I would do it if I didn't have a machine. I started out with a spin clean, and I think it's good, but you're rinsing the records in the same sort of bad fluid. So I don't think that it's the best way of cleaning a record, because I mean the first one gets really clean, the second one not so much, and the 10th or 12th one will not be clean. It's just going through that sort of junk. And I did it for many years, so I think I know my stuff when it comes to that. A record cleaning machine or a cloth that I told you about is just a new sort of clean liquid all every time. Okay, keep of the Serenes. My friend Kevin from Scotland, he has the last question. This is the last question for today. He asked, what is the best VCLT that I ever got? Now, if you don't know what a VCLT is, it's Vinyl Community Love Train. Way back in the day in the vinyl community, I think that one of the guys sent another guy a record, and he said, "Choo choo, here comes the Love Train." Just sending stuff back and forth. Now, I think that's the original kind of what we did back then. And the best one, I don't know. I've got a handful that is really, really nice, but I think I'll go with Nico's Circus record that he gave me. He got a graded version, and he had this, and it's really, really beat. Like, it looks like shit, but I still have it in my collection. One day I'll get a replacement copy that looks better than this, but it plays fine. It plays fine. I play it, I enjoy it, and it's a rare record. So I was blown away. I got it for what the shipping cost. So I think that that's the best VCLT. And thank you so much, Nico, for that one, my Norwegian friend. So that's it. That's the Q&A with me. It was fun doing this. I think I'm going to do it somewhere again down the line, because it's awesome. It's very spontaneous. Even if I edit this, it gets. I'll let myself talk a little bit more freer than my other videos, I guess so. So yeah, and obviously, if you have any questions, write them down below, and I'll see if I'll answer them. If you have serious questions like these that I've talked about, like the football player or something like that, are really, really serious, then maybe I'll save it to do another one of these. But I think I'll announce it like I did the last time with a dedicated video. So yeah. But write all your questions down below, and I'll answer every single one of them. And thank you for watching if you watched the entire thing. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye.